Now, it's interesting, it's certainly easy to ride, real easy so far, except for I hit the horn instead of the indicator off switch. Gearing seems to be good so far, so that's all good. Mind you, it's just around town, we'll see how it goes when I get on the open road a bit. The bars are not set quite right for me. I like them tilted up a little bit further, like a little bit further forward, because the lever's a little bit higher. If they got rotated further forward, that would fit me just nice, but of course that's nothing to do with the bike, that's just preference. While we're sitting here, we're on 3 bars out of 5 for temperature. Keep hitting it again. Oh dear, that's not so good, is it, really? Keep hitting the horn. Try it this time, that's better. Didn't hit the horn this time, that's good. Actually the horn's nice and loud, isn't it? That's good. Now I'm riding along without any earplugs in, and so far it's nice and quiet, so that's a plus. Yep, so far this bike is stunning. I know I've only ridden it, what, half a K maybe, but it's just so effortless to ride around town like this. Changes gear really smooth. Really smooth. Got to be really smooth on the throttle, like around town like this, otherwise like if you roll off it a little bit, it's like putting the brakes on. So if you're not super smooth on the throttle, you could find it's going, you know, accelerate, decelerate, accelerate, decelerate. How many revs am I pulling? Doesn't say. Oh yes it does, there it is, just took me a while to find it. Okay, so it's about 3.8. The instrument cluster's kind of okay, but I'm just seeing so much reflection on it. It's a sunny day, but a lot of reflection. Okay, and one up, just going around the corner like that, it wants to turn in on you, like it wants to help you get round, so it wants to roll in. My Yamaha XJR does that a lot. The DR650 doesn't. So the suspension seems a little bit stiff, but I don't know, maybe it's because it's new, like it's just kind of bouncing along at the moment. Okay, I've got one click open on my visor, which is quite nice. I've got a little bit of gentle breeze on my face, that suits me well. Yeah, so no buffeting at 70k, so that's good. I know you wouldn't really expect it at 70, but the old V-Strom used to do it just everywhere. as accurate, but it sure feels like I'm going a lot slower than that. That's for sure. So the speedo says 71, but it feels more like about 60, you know. Maybe it's just a taller bike and the road seems to be going under you a lot slower. I don't really like the digital dash because I'm used to an analog speedo, and I'm riding along and all the time I know there's something changing on the dash. It's going tick 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 tick, you know, and I keep thinking, oh, my indicator's on, am I missing the indicator light? But of course I'm not. It's just that it's kind of distracting. But then again, I am a little bit of a Luddite. I do like old school, so yeah, with the sun on the dash, I would say that the indicators are not really placed easy enough to see for me, because like the sun's on them and they're kind of hidden behind the reflection. Yeah, they're alright, but I'm just being ultra picky. I mean, the fact that I've got on the bike and just gone riding it says a lot, you know. It's just comfy, and I think anybody could ride this thing. If you're on the gravel, you'd have to be a bit careful on the throttle. It's got quite a bit of thing, you know, quite a bit torquey. Felt a little hiccup here just before I changed gear, so that must just be the fuel injection changing the mapping, you know. When I first got on it, just for the first little bit, you feel a little bit disassociated from the bike, but you kind of get used to that. Feel back from the road is, I guess it's just different, so it can take me a while to get used to that. Go down a couple of gears. So, it behaves like a big single. Like when you give it a big load of throttle, it doesn't particularly go anywhere, it's just really linear. Really linear. So that's going to make it easy to ride over long periods, I suppose. It's just, yeah, it's linear. what can I say about the bike so far? This thing is effortless to ride. It's quite interesting that, like, I've been riding it for probably about, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes maybe, and you no longer notice the bike. It's taken me just that long to familiarise myself with it, and you don't even feel like you're riding, which is exactly what you want. On the dirt, I've ridden a few bikes over the years and stuff like that, and I know it's a little bit old school tech, but well, I am 50, so I'm allowed to have old school tech and ride little slow bikes. The KLX300R, when I ride that on the dirt, I don't even notice it's there. I feel that way on this. I'm completely at home on it. There's certainly no power hound, like, you don't feel it because the power is just so linear. If you're expecting to get on this thing and feel loads of kick, that's not going to happen. But what it does is it pulls from, oh, you're probably 2.5 or 3, mate. Sorry, no, where is that? About 2,800, and it pulls linearly. I think I've only revved it to about 6, but it's just so linear that you don't notice it. And then you look down at the speedo, excuse me, and then you look down at the speedo and you realise you're going a hell of a lot faster than you thought. So if you rode this bike just by feel alone, you'd be getting a lot of tickets. This is quite good too. The screen, like, I've had it up to 100 and that screen is perfect. There's no problems with that whatsoever, so I'm pretty happy with it. Will I buy one? That's the question. Okay, here's the reasons why I would buy one. Not because I love it, it hasn't got this X factor, but it starts to wear on you like an old friend even after half an hour. Not wear on you, grow on you like an old friend, not wear on you. It doesn't, for me, have that X factor that my Yamaha does. But this thing is pretty comfortable. When I say Yamaha, I'm talking about my XJR1200 road bike, which has just X factor in spades. This doesn't seem to have that. This is just, oh, piss easy to ride. You barely notice you're even on a bike, you know, so far. So I'm going to take it on one of the more challenging slow roads that I know around. It's got some really tight first gear corners, and we'll see how this thing goes on there. The CRF1000 that I had was just a horror show in these corners up here, and it actually stalled at one stage going round there. I couldn't come to grips with it, and I actually stalled it once going around one of these corners. It's just a total pig. Whereas the Yamaha XJR, everything else I've ridden around these corners, no problem at all. The gearing spacing seems to be nice on this, you know, all the way from first to second. It doesn't do any odd jumps like the V-Strom used to. It's quite good. Yeah, quite liking it. The only thing is, this thing is silver. So on a day like today, even though I've got a headlight on, it's only the same as a reflection with the sun. And the thing is silver. I mean, it blends into the road. It couldn't be any more camouflage. So I'm always concerned about people pulling up in front of me, so I've got my high beam on. I hope that's not blinding too many people. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Okay, here's the score. Okay, now you know earlier on I said that the power was really linear and it wasn't going to get up and go and be exciting. Well, it's interesting to note that when I picked this bike up, I think it had done under 100 kilometers, and I don't know how many I've done. Let me just have a look. Okay, I've just put another 58.9 kilometers on it, and the motor is starting to free up a bit, and the motor's starting to gain a bit of an X factor. Excuse me. So yeah, the motor's yeah, it's getting nicer. So I should have realised that, of course, when I picked it up and before I started commenting on the motor, that the thing was brand new, you know. But yeah, it's starting to free up a bit, and I reckon if you put a couple of thousand kilometres on it, I think it'll go even better. It's just so much fun to ride. It is so confidence inspiring. It goes everywhere you want it to go. The only thing it does, which is a little bit weird, is if you're on the throttle and you've got it laid over a little bit, and then for some reason you get off the throttle, like you're on and then you're off, it gives a little bit of a twitch. It's not disconcerting at all, but it does twitch. I guess you're just going to get used to that. In fact, you don't even notice it. You just go, oh, that twitched. It's certainly not an issue. I think probably one of the biggest issues you're going to get on this bike is getting tickets. I don't normally speed, but I have found myself a couple of times where the speed has snuck up and I just haven't noticed it. Yeah, great bike so far. Oh, the other thing I don't like about it at all is the noise. Excuse me. Yeah, I just don't like the noise. It's headache inspiring. So if you ride this, you're going to have a really soundproof helmet, or you're going to need to wear earplugs, or you're going to get a headache. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but you see all the reflections in the gauges? Really quite hard to read. It's because I've got a high-vis vest on and it just makes it shine up. Excuse me. This is probably as off-road as I want to get on a demo bike. Okay, why wouldn't I buy this bike? Okay, I think I've already mentioned the exhaust noise is really loud. I've got earplugs in now, and it's about the volume I would expect to have been without earplugs. So it's quite loud. It'll give you a headache for sure. Let's see. I guess the price, a lovely bike, but yeah, 20 grand for the base model in New Zealand money. It's not cheap. It's cheaper than the BMW, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like parting with money, I guess. The insurance, New Zealand dollars, $1,250 a year insurance. That's a lot of dough. Yeah, I don't know. Why would I buy it? Well, it's just so much fun. No, it's a loaner.
I know you have one ordered.
Eh?
I knew you had one ordered.
Yeah. How's it going, man?
Oh, fantastic.
thing is awesome. This thing is really good. No, it's the motor at any speed, so if it's not too loud now, you're okay. I think you'd feel different if you didn't have your earplugs in. And I've got a full tank of fuel, got you on the back, and I haven't found it heavy yet. It's really torquey, eh? Like, you don't have to rev it. What's that? From a rider's perspective, it just feels like a big dirt bike. Yeah. I know, and it weighs the same amount as the V-Strom. Well, I think it's about 2 or 3 kilos light or something. And there's not a lot of room for luggage, like up front there's not a lot of room for a tank bag, because the bike's quite small. See what I mean about the seamless gearbox, eh? Nah, there's nothing, and it's a big old girl, and it just seamless changes. It's got good engine braking, this bike, eh? It's pretty good. You know, I actually don't think about the bike on this. Yeah, and yesterday I was riding it, I thought, I'm not even thinking about the bike, I'm just thinking about the ride, the journey, you know. Yeah, well, that's how I feel on the KLX 300. Just don't even notice the bike, it's just not there. So it makes it kind of like you're floating. Nice, eh? The brakes are so good. Okay, hang on. Was that alright? Hang on to those? Yeah, just at 50k it just hunts a bit, eh? Just yeah, it don't really matter. wake up. Okay, so I've had this bike for the weekend, just taking it back now. Lovely bike. It's a bit hard for my wife to get on and off the back of it. It's a little bit tall. But this thing is so easy to ride, it's just terrific. Really, really good. Not so good for around town, like you wouldn't buy it as a commuter because it kind of hunts, you know, like you're cruising along doing 50 kilometers an hour and the fuel injection I think is just trying to run it ultra lean and it's just hunts, goes like this all the time, you know, it's kind of annoying. But on the open road it doesn't do that at all, you know, you've got your throttle on and it's pretty good. The power is super linear, which is really nice. You turn the handle expecting more to happen and no more happens, you just get more linear power. And that actually works pretty well on this. It makes it ultra predictable. The handling is super predictable as well, which is good. It doesn't do anything sketchy. You can change gear mid-corner, both up and down gears, and it doesn't twitch or misbehave or anything like that. The brakes are stunning. The riding position is very comfortable. Like I did about 360k on it, I think, all up now. And yeah, it's not a problem. The riding position's great. And I started with a bad back because I've hurt my back, and it didn't aggravate my back any more than that, you know, anymore, so that's good. My wife sat on the back yesterday, did 205 k's with her on it. She found it really difficult getting on and off, which is actually one of the reasons why I'm probably not going to buy this with all the riding gear. It's a very tall bike for the passenger, exceptionally tall. Yeah, it doesn't make it easy for her to get on and off. The wind from the screen is not bad. You don't get any buffeting, like not that you'd notice. I think the GoPro picks up on the microphone some sort of pulsing, but you don't notice it as a rider.